friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. It is finally time to take a look back at my 2018 TBR shelf. In 2018, I didn't have very many goals, but I had one major goal of reading 50 different books that I had chosen from my shelves. I chose 10 different categories and 5 books for each category, and I put them all up across here. Now I currently have another bookshelf sitting up there. So that's not where they live anymore, but I'm surrounded here by the 50 books that I chose. Let's just take a few minutes to talk about how I did with that goal. At the beginning of the year, I created a bullet journal page that looked much prettier than it does now, but I have since gone through to kind of reflect on the different categories, and let me tell you, I think I did pretty good overall, but let's go through them one category at a time. So the first category we're going to talk about is new to me authors. So I have more than one book from each of these authors on my shelf, or I did, but I hadn't read them at all. So there's Becky Chambers, Elizabeth Vine, Lucinda Riley, Philippa Gregory, and Heather Gutenkopf. And out of these 5, I only read 2. So I read The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers and Codename Verity by Elizabeth Vine, both of these that I really enjoyed. However, I'm not calling this category a bust because I did read 3 other books by new to me authors that I would like to talk about, and I do own more than one of these authors as well. So I read The Edge of Lost by Christina McMorris and really enjoyed that. The Unseen World by Liz Moore, and I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh, which I can't find right now. So this category I'm saying is 5 out of 5 as far as reading from my shelves. Even though they weren't exactly the ones that I said at the beginning of the year, I still read 5 new to me authors that were on my shelves. The next category is also a 5 out of 5 win-win-win, and that is middle grade. And for that, I chose and read The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett, Pippi Longstocking by Astrid Lindgren, The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin, Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, and The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. So yay, 2 categories, 10 books read. We are on a roll so far. Then it starts to go downhill. The next category, not too bad. Actually, the next category is not too bad. It is big books, and I chose 5 big books. I only have 3 of them here. Outlander, Secret History by Donna Tartt, and Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. I also had on this list The Thornbirds by, who's that by? Colleen McCullough, and A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Both of those are unhauled, but I did read The Thornbirds. I did read Pillars of the Earth, and I did read Outlander. So 3 out of the 5 big books I did read, and the 2 that and 2 of them are currently unhauled. So I still would like to get to The Secret History at some point, but I haven't read it yet. The 4th category was nonfiction, and on that list I had Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson, Being Mortal by Atul Gawande, Behind the Beautiful Forevers by Catherine Boo, Quiet by Susan Cain, and Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand. From this pile, I only read 2. I read Unbroken and Behind the Beautiful Forevers. However, I did start and read more than halfway, or about halfway in Quiet. I am going to be unhauling this. I DNF'd it and don't want to continue. But I also, from my shelves, read one other nonfiction that I had owned before 2018 started, and that is The Magnolia Story by Chip and Joanna Gaines. So I'm saying that this category is a 3. I should call it 3.5 because I read half of Quiet, but I'm going to give myself 3. All right, not doing too bad. But then we get into the Book of the Month picks. I chose 5. I had a Book of the Month subscription for, I think, a year in 2017. It lasted longer than that because I did skip a couple months here and there. And I have still so many unread Book of the Month picks. So I keep wanting to rejoin, but I'm not letting myself because I have so many unread still. So I did choose 5 of those, and I have no idea where one of them is, but I chose Sourdough, which I've since replaced with a paperback that I got from a library sale. I just prefer paperbacks, and so I've unhauled the Book of the Month version. So I have Sourdough by Robin Sloan, The Power by Naomi Alderman, Uncommon Type by Tom Hanks, A Million Junes by Emily Henry, and The Wonder by, oh stink, who's The Wonder by? Oh, Emma Donoghue, there it is. I just found it. And I only read one of these, and it is The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. I did start and DNF The Power and Uncommon Type. These are both going to be leaving my shelves. I am no longer interested in reading them. I only got a couple stories into Uncommon Type, and I just wasn't enjoying the writing style. And in The Power, this probably was a matter of timing. I tried to read this in December. Definitely did not fit the mood that I was wanting for my December picks. And I just don't think that it's going to be one that I personally enjoy. So I'm DNFing The Power. Well, I did DNF The Power and that. So for my Book of the Month picks, I only read one. That's pretty sad. The 6th category is beautiful covers, and I'm going to hold these up one by one so you can enjoy the covers. I have The Year She Left Us by Katherine Arden, The Muse by Jessie Burton, The Book of Lost Things by John Connolly, Faithful by Alice Hoffman, and Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I kind of have a type. I kind of have a look that I really enjoy in my covers. They all have this kind of almost, not mandala, but full cover, a lot of detail, a lot of really prettiness to them. That's my type. So I read 4 of them actually this year. I read all of these, but I did not read The Year She Left Us by Katherine Arden. So I did read Caraval, Faithful, Book of Lost Things, and The Muse, and I also read another book with a pretty cover that fits in with my style, and that's Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay, who I think is coming out with a new book in January. I'm very excited about that. So yeah, I'm giving myself a 5 for 5 for pretty covers. Category 7 was YA reads, and for that I chose Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson, Red Rising by Pierce Brown, As Old as Time by Liz Braswell, and The Serpent King by Jeff Setner. And I read 2 of these. I read Shadow and Bone and The Kiss of Deception, but I read more YA than that. I read and unhauled 36 Questions. I can't even remember the name of it. I'll put the title here. 36 Questions That Changed My Mind About You. And I also read and unhauled Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, and I also read Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer. This one I loved, so I'll keep it, but the other 2, actually I'm keeping all 3 of these YA that I read, but the other 2 that I did read, I unhauled them, which is what I do with a lot of books, especially YA. If I don't particularly love it, I'll just pass it along. So I'm giving that category a 5. 5 out of 5. I will tally these up at the end, FYI, if you're wondering where we're at. I'll let you know. Don't worry. Category 8 was authors that I had already read and knew that I loved, and I wanted to read more from them. The 5 books that I chose for that were The Lake House by Kate Morton, The Ship of Brides by Jojo Moyes, My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman, Girl from the Savoy from Hazel Gaynor, and The Winter Sea by Susanna Kearsley. And I did pretty good in this category. I read 4 of them. I read The Winter Sea, My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You, The Ship of Brides, and The Lake House. I did not get to a Hazel Gaynor book this year, Girl from the Savoy. But I did read another book from an author that I love, and that is The Blue Castle by Ella Montgomery. She is the author of the Anne of Green Gables series, which I adore. So I was very excited to read another book by her. This is actually an adult novel by Ella Montgomery, and I really loved it. So I'm giving that category a 5 out of 5. Yay for me. The next category was sequels, and for that I chose The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, Glory Over Everything by Kathleen Grissom, A Fatal Grace by Louise Penny, A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab, and Unraveling by Sarah Ella. And I read 4 from this category. I read The Well of Ascension, Glory Over Everything, A Fatal Grace, and Unraveling. I did not get to the Shades of Magic trilogy. But I did read the sequel to another book from another category. I read A Closed and Common Orbit this year, and I had this book on my shelf, so that is another 5 out of 5 category for me. I'm not doing so bad, and we have one category to go. The final category is Austen-inspired books, and for that I chose a short story collection called Jane Austen Made Me Do It, edited by Laurel Ann Nattrass. Mr. Darcy Broke My Heart by Beth Patillo, Just Jane by Nancy Moser, Searching for Pemberley by Mary Lydon Simonson, and Joanna Trollope's Sense and Sensibility. And of these, I only read one. I read Mr. Darcy Broke My Heart. I did not get to the other ones, and sadly, I read Persuasion this year, but I'm not counting that for this category, but I am counting Ostensibly Ordinary by Alyssa Goodnight. So I only have 2 for this Austen category, which brings us to the totals. So strictly speaking, from my original list, I read 28 books, which isn't bad. It's more than half. But then if you include all of the books that fit in the category that were from my shelves, I read 39, which isn't bad. But total of books that I read from my shelves were 63. So I think 63 books from my shelves in a year is fantastic. I'm also pleased with 39 that fit into these categories. And I also am pleased with even just 28 that are strictly from the list that I made. I think overall it was a lot of fun to have these pulled out and help me to choose my books throughout the year, but especially towards the end of the year, I didn't care about a lot of the ones that I had chosen at the beginning of the year, which is reflected now in the way that I'm going to be doing my TBRs and the way that I set no goals basically for 2019. But I hope that you enjoyed that look back at my list from 2018. Are there any that I missed along the way that I didn't read that you think I should pick up sooner rather than later? Some of these you will be seeing soon on TBRs because they are ones that I definitely still want to read. Obviously, they're still on my shelves. They haven't made the unhaul cuts. I have gotten rid of some of them, but not all of them. Anyways, let's chat in the comments down below and give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. And stay tuned for a lot more videos. My list is huge of end of the year videos that I didn't film and New Year videos that I'm eager to film. So subscribe if you haven't already. Click on that bell icon so you know when a new video from me pops up, and I will definitely be talking to you in another video very soon. Bye!